Regardless of who you are or how long you've been playing guitar for, I'm almost 99% sure that at some point you have felt limited with the guitar. Whether you felt not inspired, writer's block, any of those kind of things. When I feel this way, I like to completely change my approach to the guitar. And the first thing I do is find an open tuning. In my opinion, open tunings are some of the best ways to find new inspiration with the guitar. So let's talk about it. To better understand why open tunings are cool, let's talk a little bit about theory. In standard tuning, the guitar is tuned to perfect fourths and one major third. This is what forms all the shapes that we know and love today. Open tunings are different than standard tuning because you tune the guitar to a chord. So let's talk about open G. Open G tuning from the low E string is D, G, D, G, B, D. You lower the low E, the low A, and the high E strings to create the open G. If you compare open G tuning to what makes up a G chord, G, B, and D, you'll realize that the open G tuning is just a G chord. So when you strum the guitar, it sounds like a G chord, because that's what it is. Compare that to strumming a standard tuned guitar, and you'll hear it doesn't sound like anything. It doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't sound great either. That's because it's not a chord, it's more of a formula, if you will. Tuning the guitar to an open tuning limits you, and limitation breeds creativity, or something like that. I don't know what the saying is. When you try to play a standard tuning chord shape in open tuning, a lot of times it doesn't work. And that's one of the main reasons why open tunings are so great. All the patterns that you know and love are gone, so you have to make your own. The limitation that you feel forces you to be creative. It's almost like you have to learn a whole new instrument. And by learning a whole new instrument, you start playing things differently and you discover cool new sounds, cool new shapes. I also find with open tunings that playing single notes on the guitar with the open strings sounds way cooler than standard tuning. The reason for that is you can cycle through different extensions or notes in the scale of the open chord to make it just sound cooler and have more color to it. A huge array of artists ranging from Joni Mitchell to American Football to This Town Needs Guns to Tiny Moving Parts to Nick Drake to Big Thief. All these artists use open tunings to great success, creating super unique and interesting harmonic textures in their music. Just like these artists, you can do this as well. So we've been talking about open tunings for a while now. So let's actually hear how some of them sound. Alright, it's time for me to talk about my 3 favorite open tunings. My first is open F. Open F is very prevalent in Midwest emo and math rock. In Midwest emo and math rock, the guitar tone is often described as twinkly, which is usually a clean sound with an open tuning. Open F is one of the most iconic Midwest emo tunings, with American Football's song Never Meant using it. Let's check out how it sounds. My next favorite open tuning is what I call the Fireflies tuning. Hey, it's Editing Cole G here, and I wanted to interject in the video a bit and talk a little bit more about the Fireflies tuning. When I was editing this video, I realized that the Fireflies tuning is actually just Dadgad tuned up a half step. So everything that I say about the Fireflies tuning can be applied to Dadgad as well. For those who don't know, Dadgad was popularized in the 1970s by Jimmy Page when he used it for the song Kashmir. It's a really great tuning and I highly recommend checking out both tunings. Alright, back to the video. It's a tuning that Mateus Asado uses for his Fireflies cover. I discovered this tuning because Daryl Saves Lives was covering Fireflies live, and I needed to learn the guitar part. I fell in love with this tuning as I was learning the song, and I actually wrote one of the songs from our upcoming EP with this tuning. I love how it sounds, it's just super cool. Let's check it out. Okay, Okay, the last tuning I want to show you is Open B. I find that this is a really great tuning for folk and blues music. I find that it has a very deep and haunting sound to it. It's still super pretty, but just a little different than the other ones. Check it out. As evident by all the sounds I just showed you, open tunings are very versatile. They work great for the cleanest of cleans, and you can push them to the heaviest of heavy distortions. They're really awesome, and I really encourage you to try them. There's so much fun waiting to be had by just tuning your guitar. I do want to give a warning to people who have never used open tunings before and are planning on doing it. Some open tunings require you to tune your guitar up in pitch. For instance, your high E string may be tuned to an F, or your B string to a C or even a C sharp. If you're tuning your guitar up in pitch above the standard tuning, there is an inherent risk that the string may break. It doesn't always happen, and I don't want to scare you too much, but it's just something to be mindful of, especially if you have heavier strings and you're trying to tune them up more. There's a higher chance that those will break. If you find that you gravitate towards higher tuned open tunings, I highly recommend looking into lighter gauge strings, as you'll have a lot less stress of them breaking when you're tuning up. But honestly, don't let me scare you from trying out an open tuning. It's 100% worth it, and if a string breaks, a string breaks. It's not the end of the world. Open tuning is one of the reasons why I think guitar is the coolest instrument, in my opinion. Not every instrument lets you tune to a chord and have a whole new harmonic structure. If you're interested in learning more about open tunings, I highly recommend you watch Adriana Lanker from Big Thief's video on Newport Folk Fest YouTube page. She details a bunch of her open tunings, and it's just a fascinating watch. Now I want to hear from you. Do you like open tunings? If you do, what's your favorite open tuning? If you don't, why don't you? Let's have a conversation down below in the comments. If you liked the video, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I think we can do this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm Kolji, and I'll see you in the next one.